YouTubers, gamers, and moviegoers, what's going on, guys? I'm the Messiah, this is Messiah Entertainment, and boy has it been a wonderful year for movies. And what better way to celebrate that wonderful year than to count down my top 10 worst movies of 2015. Roll the title. Number 10! Cause this is Chirac. Was it really? I mean, I'm sorry, Spike Lee. I know you've done great movies before like Crooklyn and Do the Right Thing, but this was not one of them. I knew I'd made a mistake once I sat down in the theater and the actors started rhyming every single line in the movie. The entire thing is like a Shakespearean play. Every word of dialogue is rhymed together. Every single line from beginning to finish. There's not a line of dialogue in this movie that doesn't sound like a poem. I think they wanted to sound like they were Shakespeare or something, but they ended up sounding more like Dr. Seuss. It didn't work. And maybe it's because of the fact that I don't really like musicals, that I wasn't really vibing with that sort of thing. But I mean, you're dealing with some very serious topics, and there are serious moments in this movie where the dialogue just brings it all the way down. It kills the tension, it kills the suspense, it kills everything about it, and now you're pretty much trying to stop chuckling from how stupid it sounds. But I know what you're saying. Hey, that's a personal preference. Maybe you don't like the dialogue, but I like the dialogue. Hey, whatever. But that was like the first thing that was wrong with the movie. For instance, what the hell did this movie want to be? Did it want to be comedy? Did it want to be drama? Did it want to talk about a serious issue? Did it want to satirize a serious issue? This movie doesn't know. It starts off in the very beginning, very dramatic, very serious. There's a shooting at a concert, there's a drive-by shooting. Everything seems normal, even with the hokey dialogue. But somewhere within the halfway mark, the movie does a 180. And everything from this one scene at a military base to the very last scene, it goes in a totally different direction, and it's just, I hate to say it, kind of stupid. I mean, you could talk about serious issues and have some comedy in it, but this was not the way to do it. Everything in here was way too over the top, especially the characters. Oh my god, they start off with some pretty serious characters. It's not like their performances were bad. It's just the fact that the writing and everything else in this movie is so over the top. It makes them such cartoons. Some of the stuff in this movie, it feels like something out of the Boondocks. You hear about what the director has to say about this movie, it was way too cartoony for me to ever take seriously. After a certain point in the movie, you just stop saying this is based in reality and this is just a cartoon and I think I know what you were trying to go for, but this ain't it. And maybe I would give this movie a few more points if perhaps the director didn't think he was enlightening the world and making something that was going to save lives. I don't know where you got that from. How could this thing connect with us if it's not real? And that's not even getting down to just the movie points of it. Certain scenes in this movie go on for way too long. At the end of the day, guys, from the writing to the style of it to the dialogue, I'm sorry, this movie was a stinker. Number 9! Transporter refueled. Did anybody expect this movie to be good? I mean, seriously, I haven't found a soul yet that really looked at this movie and was like, I'm excited for that. This movie will totally be forgotten by everybody. It was almost forgotten by me on this list. The main characters are boring. The villains are especially boring. The fight scenes are really just kind of boring and what you come to expect. It's been done before and a lot better. At the end of the day, I don't know what to really say other than this movie was just such a bore to sit through, and I really hope they don't make another one. Number 8! The Lazarus Effect. Did anybody else forget this movie? I know I did. I barely remember the ending other than it was stupid. I mean, come on, you killed the black guy first, and in the trailer? Are horror movies even trying anymore? This movie was so weak and nobody is ever going to remember it. It was so unmemorable in every way, shape, or form, from the characters to just the scares. Nothing was special about this movie, so let's just get on with the next one. It doesn't even deserve us talking about it for this long. Number 7! Paranormal Activity, the Ghost Dimension. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bow our heads and give a moment of silence for a movie franchise that we are now laying to rest. after far too long. Jesus Christ, this movie should have stopped at 3. 4 was useless. The marked ones was especially useless. And then 5 was just the nail in the coffin. Literally, the nail in the coffin. This is the final chapter of the Paranormal Activity franchise. I can't say that it really did anything to clear up any of my questions from the previous movies other than the fact that the ghost came to our realm, I guess? Sure. They've confirmed that this is the last one. Thank you, God. It's over. No more, no more, no more. This franchise is an example of how bad Hollywood can just milk a franchise that was so good. It was so good in the beginning. Paranormal Activity 1 was amazing. I was so scared. Paranormal Activity 2 was a little less scary, but it was still amazing. 3 was pretty good. And then 4. The marked ones. This one. The Dark Times. It's just another Paranormal Activity movie. That's all they've been giving us. The same old crap rehashed over and over and over again. It's the same exact thing, except the big whoop is you can actually see the ghost, which wasn't that the part that scared us in the past? That we couldn't see the thing that was haunting us? That's what's scary. We fear the unknown, not the big CGI thing off a Sci-Fi Channel mask that's in front of us. What the hell is that? As expected, this movie was garbage, but on the bright side, we could actually bury it in the backyard, because it's dead, it's over, no more Paranormal Activity, yeah. Number 6, Poltergeist. Did anybody else forget this movie? Guys, what would a list of 2015's worst movies look without a batch of terrible horror films on the list? It just wouldn't feel complete. And luckily, every year, there's always a nice slew for us to just roast the hell out of. Another one, Poltergeist, trying to redo the greatness that was the old film. Why? Why was this necessary, guys? Sometimes I really just don't know what to say about horror films. I mean, it's really just the same thing over and over and over again. The horror films do the same thing all the time. Family moves into a house is haunted, they bring in a priest may or may not succeed. It's the same thing all the freaking time. It never changes. Paranormal Activity was the same exact thing. Family is in house, ghost starts haunting them in house, they bring a priest. It's the same thing! I mean, granted, every once in a while you get a good version of it, like Sinister or The Conjuring, but I mean, oh my god, this is just ridiculous. Every single one of these movies is always the same exact premise, and I don't know why they can't come up with something more original, but I mean, Jesus Christ. Stop. There was no reason to make this remake. In fact, you could have called this movie anything else and kept the good name of Poltergeist out of this thing. But no, you contaminated the Poltergeist brand, so thanks a lot. Overall, just another suckish horror film. Number 5! Sinister 2? Sinister 2? What are you doing on the list, Sinister 2? What are you doing there? What is Sinister 2 doing on that list? Sinister 1, I loved Sinister 1. It was really, like, honestly one of my favorite horror films, along with The Conjuring. But why is it here? This movie does everything that I just said about 30 seconds ago about all horror movies being cliche. It does the same exact freaking thing. It takes away the good part of what I liked about Sinister 1, which is the videotapes and the whole Bagul thing. They took that away and they instead showed us the other side. They showed us how the kids did it, and while that kind of proved interesting for a second, the trade-off was way too big. How is this family gonna work into the grand scheme of things? And they just showed too much of the other side. That's a new thing in Hollywood, I'm guessing. They're trying to show the other side so that they can keep it fresh or something. Paranormal Activity showed you what the ghosts look like with that new stupid camera that doesn't make any sense. They're trying to show you what the kids did in this movie and show you the stuff from the kids' perspective. I don't think it's working. It's taking away all the scares that I had from the first one. And it adds weird plot points here and there, like the main female character has like this abusive husband, and why is that there? I don't know. It's like they added it just so they could kill him off. What? At the end of the day, this franchise might have to go back in the dirt with Paranormal Activity out there. Number 4! Hitman Agent 47. Finally, we're out of the horror block. This movie, I mean, I saw it coming. I may have saw some of the action, was like, that's kind of cool. And to be fair, that's probably one of the few redeeming factors of this movie. There are cool scenes like where the guy's just doing a bunch of badass stuff and just knocking people down and one-shotting everybody. But then the rest of it, that's supposed to keep the movie together, like, you know, the story. That's whack. The CGI is so noticeable that it's not even funny. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I fell out in this movie. I literally fell out. I couldn't do it. I couldn't make it through the whole thing. It was just not interesting enough. This is their second time trying to do the Hitman franchise, and hopefully they don't try a third time after this. This movie, I hope, doesn't come out for a third time, doesn't get a sequel, doesn't get rebooted, doesn't do anything. Just make the video games. We don't want to see Hitman movie. We want to see Hitman video games. Just stop it, guys. Stop it. Number 3! Taken 3! Oh my god, I keep on having to dig out the grave in the backyard and throwing film franchises in there because Taken is over! This is the final installment, and it's been long awaited, like ever since the first one. It's sad because this series just degraded over time. I mean, from the first Taken, which was really good, to the second Taken, which was really not, to the third Taken, which was... Jesus Christ. It was hard to sit through, honestly. Some things were just so bad. I mean, this is unbelievable. And it's really sad because the first movie was such a good thing. I mean, it was a guy trying to find his daughter in the middle of Europe against all odds. How could anybody expect to accomplish that mission? But he did it, despite the odds. The other two just seemed like they were trying to cash in on something that was really done well the first time. I mean, kidnapping him in the other one, and then he was taken. I mean, I'm sorry, it felt like a gimmick. I'm sorry, this movie franchise death is long awaited. Taken 3, take a nap! Number 2! The Gallows! That's what I wanted to do to myself after watching this ridiculous movie. Get this freaking thing off my neck. This movie was terrible. Another horror movie that absolutely sucked. I gotta give it to you. You didn't follow the horror movie cliches. You just followed the teenager cliches, which I guess are horror movie cliches too. Whatever, you still are cliche as hell. The story's premise is basic enough. I mean, kids are trapped in a high school and things start haunting it. If they just stuck with that idea, it would have been fine, but they try to go complicated and really do this cool, complex story, which ends up being just kind of stupid and doesn't really make much sense. They try to relate it to some history of the school and why the gallows are there and blah, 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 and why they're doing this, and it just doesn't make sense. It would have been more effective, I think, had they just said he was some crazy, murderous psychopath. The beginning portion of the movie spends way too long trying to get us attached to these characters and stuff, except they're all douchebags. Nobody cares about any of them. The theater girl's a bit of a jerk. The main character is sort of a jerk. The girl is definitely a jerk. The guy is definitely a jerk. Who wants any of these people to survive? I almost wanted them to die, to be honest with you. And I guess they thought that they would be clever with this cute little ending where, oh, we finally see why he's doing this, what his relation to everybody is. He has a purpose, he has a motive. Oh, that's clever, right? We'll show it at the end what he looks like. Yeah, they'll love it, they'll love it. We didn't love it. We hated it, and it was whack. And the found footage thing is becoming overused, guys. Come on, this didn't even help advance the storytelling. We didn't even get to see anything happen. It would just be someone gets dragged off screen, and they're gone. It was like it's over. At least those old school slasher films had gore in it or something to make us go, whoa, whoa, oh my god, that's crazy. This one's just, he gets dragged off screen and then that's it. I gotta say, The Gallows, another stinker. And finally, last but not least, the worst film of 2015. Number 1! Fantastic Four. You knew it. You knew this was on the list. You knew it. You knew what it was going to be before you even clicked on this video. I bet you did. You knew it. Fantastic Four was the worst movie of 2015 for a variety of reasons. Not only the fact that the movie just fails on its own, but the fact that this was 2015. You can't do this anymore, guys. You can't throw at us garbage superhero movies anymore. Marvel, DC, even Fox, you guys who have given us this piece of garbage, I mean, X-Men The Last Stand, X-Men Origins Wolverine, you guys have been doing pretty good with the X-Men franchise. I mean, Days of Future Past was amazing. The Wolverine was pretty good. First Class was awesome. So when this came out, I was like, hey, I expect the same kind of dedication here. that's not what we got. We got some slapped up together mess. He had the politics behind it. This thing was very just barely put together. There was totally different scenes that were supposed to be in this movie. Action scenes were cut from this movie for some freaking reason, because there's absolutely none in this movie. Ridiculous. I don't know who's to blame, from whether it's Josh Trank or the studio itself. I don't know. And I don't care. All I know as a film goer is that this movie was garbage, from the action, the CGI, which was so subpar for a movie of this scale. I mean, Jesus Christ, what was going on? In a time and place where Marvel is doing Civil War, where DC is doing Batman v Superman, you can't give us this garbage anymore. You can feel the lack of passion in this movie. I mean, this was literally just made so that they could keep the rights out of Marvel's hand, which is really sad, because you had such great resources to make such a cool movie. I mean, this is a big budget film with great actors who could definitely have made a better movie if they were given better material to work with. Like, I don't know what Josh Trank's original idea was, but something tells me it had to have been better than this. At least in that version, there would have been a little bit of a passion in there, you know? Someone would actually be trying to tell a real story instead of trying to slap together a mess that they think audiences might like, because audiences didn't like it. This has to be one of the worst films since before Green Lantern. At least Green Lantern had some moments in it where I was like, oh, okay, it was a little enjoyable. Even X-Men Origins. I mean, this is like Catwoman bad. A lot of boring dialogue, nothing really happens, the villain is stupid. Yes, Dr. freaking Doom, I'm calling him stupid. That's how bad this movie is. Dr. Doom is one of the best villains of all time. One of the strongest villains too. This guy is stupid in this movie. The entire movie, except for whoever the casting directors were, which even there they had conflict. Josh Trank didn't want this person, the studio didn't want these people. You know, they didn't even agree on those terms. But I mean, besides the fact that the actors and actresses were really good, the entire movie was a disaster. It was a disaster, it was a mess, and it is literally my worst movie of 2015. So bad that Fox, in all its infinite knowledge, who thought they could actually make a sequel off of this movie, quickly recanted that statement, and instead I'm hoping is choosing to focus on the X-Men franchise, making that the best it could be. Because despite that, I mean, hey, Fox, I can't wait for X-Men Apocalypse. That looks like it's gonna be really cool. Deadpool, you have a good thing going. I mean, Gambit, put a little bit of effort there. I'm not sure about it, so make sure that comes out crystal clear. But I mean, this was just unnecessary. This was unneeded. It was stupid. It was clearly done to just keep the rights out of Marvel's hands. And in fact, I think you may be playing into Marvel's hand. Marvel wants to show the world that you can't do Fantastic Four right. The previous two movies, despite the fact that I felt it was decent, this movie sucked. It sucked on ice. It was terrible. It was garbage. Bad, 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 bad. Okay. It was just so bad and disappointing for something, a superhero movie that's coming out in 2015. After we've had The Dark Knight, where we've had Avengers, where we've had Captain America, The Winter Soldier, where we've had Avengers Age of Ultron, after we've had all these freaking cool superhero movies, and you're gonna give us this perfect... I'm calm. Listen, guys, at the end of the day, the movie was just such a shamble and such a disappointment to many people who were hoping that, despite what everybody was saying about this movie, despite the criticism that it was getting just from the trailers alone, that it would just be somewhat good, at least decent. I guess that was too much to ask of Fantastic Four. But that's it, guys, my worst list of 2015. It was actually a lot of fun, but I know what you guys are saying. What about this movie? What about that movie? How did that movie make it on there? Do you agree with my list? Do you think I'm crazy? Let me know in the comment section down below. What were your worst movies of 2015? Don't forget to check out my other top 10 list for best TV shows of 2015 and the best trailers of 2015. Coming up soon, the best movies of 2015, the most anticipated games of 2016, and the most anticipated movies of 2016. Those are coming up soon, so stay tuned to check those out. As always, you guys can follow me on Vine, Twitter, Movie Pilot, and Twitch. And that's it for today, guys. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. I'm Messiah. This is Messiah Entertainment. Peace.